Kalonzo Musyoka, Raila Amolo Odinga, Fred Matiang'i, William Samoei Ruto, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Who else am I forgetting in this equation? These can never be good leaders. No matter how people are trying to press that Fred Matiang'i should be the president of Kenya after we take down William Samoei Ruto. I refute those kind of thoughts. Are they the best presidents they could be? Never. I say no, and here are my reasons. First and foremost, for William Samoei Ruto, that goes without saying. The culture of lies and fulfilled promises, a deceiver, a killer. I'm not afraid to say so because we've seen our brothers, our sisters being abducted, and some of them return alive, some of them return unalived. So that one we cannot see, and we've seen the full force that they use during the demonstrations, which are totally peaceful, not until when the police come and start disrupting those demonstrations. And now we go to Fred Matiang'i. This was the CS for education first that he performed exemplary in that docket during Uhuru Muigai's tenure. Then comes the second docket that he was allocated to, and that exposed him as a person who can be fully manipulated to do the will of the boss, even if it's wrong. When they are told to jump, they don't ask why, they just ask how high. That is Fred Matiang'i in the docket of the CS for Interior, and it is it is the error that we saw so many bodies being dumped at Rigathi. So many people were being kidnapped, abducted, and found unalived and dumped in Rigathi. And in this video, even James Agribob Orengo, the governor for Siaya County, extensively talked about this when he was, responding to Opio Wandai claims of, we should leave Nuruddin Haj and the entire National Intelligence Service out of political rhetoric since they are defenseless. Anyway, that I already talked about in the link that you just saw up there. So that already disqualifies Matiang'i as one of would be better leaders in this country. We now head to Kalonzo Musyoka. Kalonzo Musyoka for a long time has been called a watermelon. For a long time has dwelled with these people who are now oppressing this nation. Dwelled with Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. So anybody who dined and dwelled with Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, for me, I see these are not people whom we could call good leaders, because you cannot tell me up until now they haven't realized that those were bad leaders to associate with. Even as we were growing, there are those kids your parent could tell you, hey, don't associate with that kid, because if you associate with him, no sooner will you start, gaining their characters, and if they are bad people, absolutely, you also become one of the bad boys. Then we go to Raila Amolo Odinga, who has literally been into each and every government. During the Moi era, in the cooperatives, you come to the Mwai Kibaki's era, we have the Nusumkate government through the Grand Coalition government. You come to Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta's tenure, we have the handshake, and now in William Samoei Ruto's government, we have the broad-based government. And whom does it benefit? It benefits the Raila Amolo Odinga and the cronies, sycophants of ODM and the party alignment they are into. Even as we speak, their top leadership went to the government to occupy the top positions in the country. Talk about John Mbadi in the treasury. Talk about Wycliffe Ombatsi Oparanya in the cooperatives. Talk about Opio Wandai in the energy sector. Talk about Ali Hassan Joho in the mining and blue economy. Those are very key, positions in government. Those are key industries in this government. They are literally controlling the economy of this nation with both imports and exports. You understand? So they cannot come and tell us that this government is doing bad, and that is why in these recent past, you've seen these leaders singing into the tune of William Samoei Ruto. Therefore, Raila Amolo Odinga cannot claim to be one person who has the interest of this country at heart. No, the political elite are always uniting against the common mwananchi. I mean, back in 2013, we saw people being unalived during the demonstrations that were actually occasioned by Raila Amolo Odinga himself, that he called people on the streets to fight for what he called unfair, unverifiable elections back then when he was competing against Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. The issues of baby Pendo, justice up to now has not seemed to have been done. The people who were unalive back in 2007, what about them? That case just went like that, So somebody will ask me, what would have Raila Amolo Odinga? Then, if he has power to convince these leaders to appoint his members in, then he had the power to tell these leaders, follow the will of the people. And I'm not relenting my stand, until you give justice to these people. But otherwise, what has he done? He's went there to make sure that his belly is full to protect their businesses. Therefore, Matiang'i for me is an X. Raila Amolo Odinga for me is an X. Kalonzo Musyoka is an X. Now, I want to introduce another factor here known as Okiya Omtata, the senator for Busia County. Up until 2 months now, I feel like I have some doubt about Okiya Omtata. He began well. Why am I having this doubt? Not because he's one person who could be manipulated. I'm not saying he's the one who was behind Kibet Bull's abduction. No, I'm just saying if he knew that Kibet Bull and he saw some suspicious vehicles, Subarus with communication gadgets, he should have let this young man know that, hey, there is danger. You are walking into a den of lions and they will consume you. So kindly don't step out. But he just let him step out, and later on, before he knew it, the guy was abducted for weeks. Were it not for the online activists, were it not for the people who went on ground, we kept talking, making noise for these, we don't know what would have happened, because again, the government kept on saying that we are not responsible. The police are not the people who are abducting these people. Yet we know it is the NIAs who was actually abducting these persons. That goes without saying, So, for me, that stains his bid, because I feel like this is a person who cannot make decisions in time to save situations. Because you see, in a country when certain things are happening, you need to act so swiftly on them. So that delay makes me feel like there's a character in him that would put or jeopardize the security or peace in the nation. Now, let us talk about a character that I also want to introduce about Miguna Miguna. Miguna has a track record of fearlessly defending and fiercely defending the democracy of our nation, speaking his mind without fear or favor of contradiction. You see, these are the kind of persons that I would wish I will be vying for presidency, because I would outrightly vote for them, because I know the cronies who has made the economy of this country go down will be behind bars as soon as someone like Miguna puts that Bible down, because investigations will be done, and these people will be behind bars. They will have to bring back the monies that they have stashed in offshore accounts, and yet leaving other Kenyans suffering in this nation. It is good to tax someone and they see development happening, other than taxing and taking it to your bellies. That is what these leaders are doing. Another character here is Murara Kebaso. Good. Up until now, I have nothing against Murara Kebaso, and I feel he's quite energetic, a young man who can strive to through this country in the right direction. Through his vampire diaries, he has shown to unearth, white elephant projects that are commissioned, launched, funds are disbursed, but at the end of the day, nothing is done beyond launching or commissioning. meaning that money has gone into some other people's belly. So he's been doing quite a nice job. And this is a person who I've seen as investigation skills, somebody who can question why, how did this happen, and can get into the bottom of matters or issues that are happening. Therefore, sealing loopholes for people stealing government or from public coffers, money that otherwise is meant to develop the agricultural sector, improve the education sector, health sector, and the generally well-being of the nationals. That is purely my thought. I don't know what you are thinking. You can give me your take in our comment section below. If you're watching from our YouTube channel, kindly subscribe and press notification button so anytime that we are live or we upload content of this nature, you'll be the very first person to be notified. Ahmed Khalif is my name for the Unscripted Talks here in Durb Radio. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Kwa timba kali za Afrika, Durb Radio ndio mpango mzima.